Welcome to the Local Domination Podcast, your ultimate guide to get local clients fast. Featuring interviews with local marketing and lead generation experts who will show you exactly how to attract local clients and dominate your market. And now, here's your host, Doran Aldana.
Get this. Every day, local prospects are searching for your products or services online, and they're looking for someone they can trust. Are you capturing that business? How would you like to dominate the local search results with more 5-star rave reviews than any of your competitors so you become the only logical, trusted choice? I call it Operation Domination. Download a free copy of our Ultimate Testimonial Toolkit now at mytestimonialengine.com/domination. Again, that's mytestimonialengine.com/domination and discover how to build your business at the speed of trust. All right, welcome everyone to another episode of the Local Domination Podcast, your ultimate guide to getting local clients fast. This is your host, Doran Aldana. We've got another kick-ass episode for you today with the one, the only, Barry Coziahr. And anytime your name rhymes with on fire, you know you got a kick-ass name. So this is going to be good, I can tell already. And just for those of you who are not familiar with Barry, for the uninitiated, he's a marketing specialist extraordinaire. He is a Postcard Mania national speaker. We'll learn more about Postcard Mania in a moment. Barry is a trained consultant. He's extraordinarily and very talented at diving into someone's business and discerning how to create and orchestrate breakthrough results. So he's a trainer, he is a consultant, and he's trained and consulted more than 10,000 small business owners and delivered more than 1,000 seminars and workshops on small business marketing. And in 2016, Barry became the national speaker at Postcard Mania. And for those who aren't familiar, Postcard Mania is a full-service marketing company that specializes in lead generation. Yes, you heard me right. The lifeblood of your business, leads, in lead generation, and in educating for free, I should add, their 73,000 plus small business clients on the marketing tools that they need to grow and prosper. And just as a little side note, Postcard Mania has a massive facility that mails over 50 million postcards per year. So these guys know what they're talking about when it comes to dialing in direct mail marketing. And that's just a fraction of which we're going to cover today. So with that being said, Barry, thanks for being with us today.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks for having me. So, I'm happy to be here. Really excited, actually, to help some small businesses dominate their local market.
Awesome. Well, I can't think of anyone better to give people some insight on how to do exactly that. You've been in the nonprofit game. You've been on the front lines of for-profit, in the front lines of capitalism as well. You've been in the game 30 years in marketing and sales. So we got lots of experience to draw from. So maybe you could just start off by sharing a little bit about your story as to, how you got into the sales and marketing world and how you got into really cracking the code on what works for marketing for the local small business.
Sure. Yeah. Well, my dad was a salesman, and that's what he was my whole life, a salesman and a marketer. So I had that example to look to from a pretty young age. And, strangely enough, I must have been in the same mold because I found myself hitting the streets at the age of 7, doing door to door, starting winning those sales contests. I'm sure that they still have those type of things. Going door to door, winning sales contests at my school, and just immediately from before I was even 10, being an entrepreneur of sorts. So I could win that 10-speed bicycle or whatever it was that they were giving away for the guy who'd hit the number one spot. And then as I went on through high school, I I wasn't very interested in school, particularly. I was more interested in dealing with people, going out and dealing with people, and my grades showed it, right? But when I graduated from high school, I started hitting the books really heavily. I love to read. I developed a real love of reading that I hadn't developed in high school, and I just plow through marketing books and books on other subjects just to absorb them and figure out how to apply them. And there's so much content out there today. It's crazy, but you can learn. I mean, the internet's an amazing thing. If I would have had it back then, I don't know. It's just such a resource. Books are so important, and the knowledge out there is such a resource. And that's what's really great about working here at Postcard Mania. I'm able to take everything that I've studied and learned and helped other people with, and really distill it down to tools that actually work. Because we actually keep track of what really works for all the businesses that we work for in many different industries. And we're able to really focus in and take all the education that Postcard Mania has and that I've spent decades cultivating, and really focus it on helping small businesses to accomplish what they want to accomplish, which is growth, which means they've got to have leads and they got to close deals. So, it's really exciting to have taken all that and now be here to apply it and help others, guide them in creating on their business.
Well, what's interesting and very unique about Postcard Mania is they serve so many different verticals, so many different categories of business, literally dozens and dozens of different categories of businesses, from the local pizza shop to the chiropractor to the mortgage professional to the realtor and beyond. And of course, sending out 50 million postcards a year, you can learn a thing or two as to what's working and what's not pretty dang quick, as opposed to sending out email that's generally free or close to free. You're investing a small amount, a modest amount. In some cases, if you multiply it times thousands, it can be a hefty amount in direct mail and print and postage. And so you want to make sure you got it dialed in. So obviously, you, along with the team at Postcard Media, are quite, scientific as to dialing in what's working. And obviously, you're ferocious in your pursuit for that newfound knowledge. And I, too, was not a big fan of school, except I love PE. That was my favorite class, PE. Everything else, is just so much.
Recess, myself.
Right? Recess, and I discovered a love for that, too. Apparently, my teachers didn't like that very much, because I extended my research past when I should have, or my recess beyond where I should have. But when you say you weren't interested in school, what I hear in that is you weren't interested in learning, a bunch of nonsense that doesn't actually apply to real life, just head knowledge that isn't actually relevant to real life. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, I mean, that plus they didn't really know how to. I mean, in schools, it's rare to find somebody who knows how to teach,
right?
And so I've kind of become a bit of a connoisseur of good teaching too. I hope to become a good, to continue to become a better teacher myself. My parents took their time to teach me math, which is great because, that way I'm able to add up the dollars that come in, and so
that's important.
So I really like math for problem solving purposes and such. But the fact is that they focused in and helped me to develop that skill. And whereas the reading wasn't particularly a skill that someone taught me well. And so I didn't have a good teacher in that vein as and so I know what good teaching is and what it isn't. So that's what's really exciting about what I'm doing is there's lots of great knowledge out there for marketing, but it's a matter of, can you teach it at the level where the average guy can absorb it? Can you give him some good resources so that he can apply it to what he's doing and get some real traction?
Bingo. And we'll certainly get a taste of your passion for teaching today. So I'm stoked about that. But it's kind of cool to see how we can learn from people's example on what does work as well as what doesn't work. You learn from your father's example what does work when it comes to sales and marketing and entrepreneurship, and you learn from your teacher's example what doesn't work when it comes to bad teaching. So we get to learn from both sides of the equation. And one thing I know to be true, I learned this from my late and great mentor, Jim Rohn: if you pursue formal education, you'll make a living. you pursue self-education, you'll make a fortune. And you're a perfect embodiment of that. You're a ferocious, rabid reader, and you continue to learn, and you continue to grow, and you continue to get better and sharpen your prowess in marketing and sales. And I think every small business owner needs to take that up as a hobby, because whether you like it or not, whether you know it or not, you're in the number one business that every single business needs to know they're in, and that is marketing. First and foremost, you're in the marketing business. Doesn't matter what you sell, doesn't matter what product or service you offer, you are in the marketing business. And the more you get that and embrace that and pursue marketing as a skill set, that's your primary skill set as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, that's just going to multiply your profits through the roof. Have you found that to be true?
Yeah, I mean, I think even more fundamental than that, you're in the people business,
right?
Yeah, I mean, with regards to marketing, sorry, we lost power here for just a second, but you're still there, right?
I'm still here.
Okay, good.
You haven't shaken me off yet, buddy. Try as you may.
All right, good. So, I mean, really, you're in the people business. I mean, marketing is really about what people will respond to, whether it's the packaging, whether you can reach them with a particular distribution method, whether you've got the right message, whether you've got something that's going to attract their attention, push them over the edge and get them to go to your website, find out more, whether you do a good job there, and then finally whether you follow up enough to then close the deal, right? Mm-hmm. And so I guess that's in a nutshell what marketing is, all the pieces of it. And every single piece of that deals with people. So one of the areas that I heavily dealt with was, are you still there?
I am.
Good. We just keep losing power. It's exciting. I don't think there's another hurricane happening in our area. We had a hurricane a week or so ago, but and I think our weather's fine. It's just odd. The power company is still catching up to speed.
You're seamless on this side, buddy. So for what it's worth, you sound nice and clear and seamless on this side.
Good. All right. Well, fantastic. So you're really, I think, in the people business. And before I got into all the other marketing tools that were available, we dug into market research and finding out, by going out and doing surveys, finding out what people would respond to. And really, I think that's what we do up here at Postcard Mania. We actually have one person, her job is to catalog results. So we have about 30 or so industries where we've really dug deep, and we've cultivated out of the hundreds of industries that we work with. I mean, we know the basics of what's going to work for any postcard campaign, but there's about 30 where we've really dug in. All the ones you mentioned, we've really dug in, and we know exactly what gets the right result. Like we know what color card should be there. We know what images get the best results in many of those cases. Cool. And we've got one person, just 40 hours a week, she's just cranking through, talking to our clients and finding out what kind of results they're getting. There's tons of case studies on the website that would give people examples of what work. And it's really just a survey of what people are responding to, what attracts their attention, captures them, and pulls them in, and generates that interest, and enough of that interest where they take the next step and they go to your website and they become an opportunity for you to close a deal. So I think that's what we're, probably the biggest thing that you could study. I mean, one of the things you have to study is not just the mechanics of how to send an email out or how to design something, but you really have to realize that you're dealing with people and what, and what they're going to respond to, what's going to get a result with them. Even if you're a salesperson, you have to be thinking with what people like and don't like in dealing with salespeople. Like I helped a friend recently with not here at Postcard Mania, but a friend of Postcard Mania's, do a survey of people on salespeople. And we surveyed about 100 customers out there in the world, people who had bought something, and we found out what was the best thing about the sales experiences they had, what the worst thing about the sales experiences they had. And really what they said, the big thing on both sides of the equation was how well the person treated me was more important than price and many other factors. So it just kind of points up the fact that you're in a people business. And so offers that you're giving. Those are about what people respond to. So I think that points to your question, and that's what's important to me too. I like dealing with people, but I like creating a big effect. And so you can do that with a postcard campaign. You can reach the right kind of people, exactly who it is that you want to reach, with a really good message, and drive a lot of them to your website so that you can then engage in taking care of as many as you can, with what you've got to offer.
Well, you make a really good point, Barry. You mentioned the right kind of people, and people might just pass over that, like, that's just words. But the right kind of people can make the difference between a home run and a complete flop. And the right kind of people are really the only people that count, because if you're attracting the wrong kind of people, you have problem child clients, you have complaints, you have refunds, you have a very low conversion, all these things. You get less referrals, all these headaches, nightmares, and hemorrhages in your profit and your time. So the right kind of people is really kind of the first step in the process, is looking at who the heck do you want to attract, and then what's the right message to attract them. And then the other question is, what's the best way to reach them? Now, obviously, being that you're connected with Postcard Mania, you're proponents of direct mail. So why direct mail? I mean, we got email, we got social media, we've got all these other options out there. We got Google AdWords, we got Facebook, pay-per-click. We got 1,000,001 different ways to skin the cat. Why direct mail?
Well, direct mail is, it's in many cases, and we'll tell you, by the way, we'll help you figure out exactly the return on investment on a postcard campaign. We don't sell stuff off of our website, by the way. You can't go to Postcard Mania's website and buy postcards.
Right.
You actually deal with a consultant. There's about 37 consultants here. And so we'll dig in and we'll tell you, postcards won't work for you, right? They'll work for a lot of industries, but it has to do with the return on investment. Like, it has to do with, various things. We'll help you actually calculate that stuff. And we would tell you if we thought it was something you shouldn't engage in. If you want to get a full list of the industries it does work on, you can get that from the Postcard Mania website. But when one of the things that in Joy's book is, postcards actually arrive in the person's hand really by their own choice. That's kind of interesting. A person will walk out to go get the mail,
right,
and they'll flip through the mail. Now, postcards work better than other pieces of direct mail because you don't have to deal with an envelope. Mm-hmm. You immediately, if you've designed it well, as the person is flipping through the mail, you get an opportunity to boom right then and there deliver your message, and so you're able to reach more people, not just with a promotional piece, but directly. They're looking to see whether that message is for them, and so I think it gets like about a 900% by survey, by research, a 900% better response rate than like pay-per-click advertising or spam type emails that people might just blast out to a list. So about 60% I think of consumers out there say that they visited a website because of direct mail that they've received. So a lot of people put together a website thinking that's going to solve their problems, right? I've got a website now, everything's good, but you have to get traffic to that website, and the right kind of traffic. And so we've spent a lot of time researching the right kind of, you can't just go out and buy any list. We spent almost 2 decades cultivating the best lists that you could get. And so we consult people on that specifically to help them find like whatever it is or whoever it is they're looking for. And then communicate to those people, and very specifically to those people, not based on any guessing or anything else. And so we'll walk you through the whole process too, and we'll actually take care of you on the whole process. So anyway, there's a lot of good things about it. We're going to actually make available to your listeners a copy of Joy's book, and they can dig in on postcards specifically and gain some of that knowledge and get empowered. But we'd sit down and tell you if it was for you or not. It definitely is for so many industries. It just works really, really well. Some, it's their only marketing strategy.
Wow. Just for those who are not familiar, Joy Genduza is the owner of Postcard Mania, and I actually interviewed her probably about a decade ago on my Meetings with Mortgage Masters interview series back in the day. So Joy and I go way back, and this is very much a timeless principle, because what worked 10 years ago still works today. Just like gravity still works today just as well as it did when Newton's law arrived from an apple falling on his head. Still it works.
Yeah, people still do canvassing. People still knock on doors. Yeah, and there's some people that make a lot of money doing it. So tried and true marketing principles work. And Joy's built this company. I mean, it's a sole proprietorship, right? It built from like 6 employees. Joy built it from like 6 staff to over 200 staff using marketing. So that's the knowledge that people are getting when they deal with the Postcard Mania consultants or come to our webinars or go to our website. They're dealing with like almost 2 decades or more of distilled marketing knowledge that's gotten a real result in growing a hugely successful business.
And as Barry just mentioned, some of the advantages of postcards uniquely is, and this isn't necessarily unique to postcards, but it's certainly an advantage of postcards, is it's easy to track. If you know how to track it, you can track your ROI to the penny. So you can be very scientific on your return on investment, unlike some of those billboard ads and other things that are much more difficult to decipher what you're actually making, what kind of profit you're earning for your dollars. It's very difficult to hold your dollars accountable to results with a lot of those other types of mass media. Postcards, very scientific. And as Barry also mentioned, postcards arrive in people's hands voluntarily, and they're a lot harder to ignore than email. We get avalanches of emails every day. We ignore most of them. Postcards, you're going to look at it before you toss it out. And
it's true.
And as Barry said, postcards, I didn't necessarily hear Barry say this, but I'm saying it. They're naked. You don't have to open them. There's no envelope. So you get you get the message right between your eyes before you either take action on it, hold it for a later time, or toss it in the recycle bin. And the other really key piece that Postcard Mania brings to the table, which we'll probably talk about a little more in a moment, is the quality of the lists. They've been mastering the craft of compiling wicked effective lists of highly responsive people who have proven themselves to be responsive with previous campaigns, or have exactly the profile that you're looking for your ideal client profile. So it's laser targeted, and that's one of the reasons why postcards can be so effective, because you can hit the right person with the right message at the right time. And that is really the key to making your campaign successful. So let's talk about let's unpack that a little more, shall we, Barry? What does it take to make a direct mail campaign in general, or a postcard campaign in particular, successful? Let's break down the pieces.
Good. Well, we can talk about the list. The list for where you're starting there. If you're dealing with a list company, and these are some of the qualifications we fit, but if you're going to get a list somewhere else, you want to find out how often that list is updated. And the right answer is constantly. You want to find out, is deliverability guaranteed? The industry standard, or the standard that you have to deal with, is at least no less than 90% guaranteed delivery. You want to know whether or not the company that you're going to deal with is going to guarantee that and refund you the postage costs for anything that goes over that 90%. And then finally, you want to find out if you can reuse the list, because everybody knows this, right? That you've got to hit your people with your message again and again and again, right? Seth Godin said, a single ad, no matter how compelling, is almost never enough to sell your product. You've got to hit people with the right message again and again. So you've got to be able to reuse that list. So it starts with the list, just like we've been saying. And then the next place it goes is into the design itself, making sure you're designing the piece from the viewpoint of the person that you're going to send it to. You're not sending your promotion necessarily. You're not always the target market for what you're selling, right? Sometimes you're selling things that you're not the target market for. And so you want to be able to take on the viewpoint of the person that you're sending the piece to and look at it from like, what's in it for them? Is this a piece that will resonate with the person that I'm sending this to? And then next in design is really looking at how the design flows. There's an interesting thing a person can do their own drill on this called eye trail, where you look at an advertisement like in a magazine, and you look at this advertisement, this page, and if you replay in your mind what happened when you looked at this page, you'll know that your eye went here first, and then it went here, and then you looked here, and you can actually replay what happened with your looking at the page. And so we design stuff with eye trail in mind to like have people first be hit by a headline that communicates the whole message of what it is you're offering. A really good headline that's totally clear and big, but also clear in what it communicates, lets them know immediately that you're a dentist or whoever it is that you are, and what you want to offer them. Takes them through the offer itself, which really we've cataloged what the best offers are for many different industries. So we'll give you some advice as to how, what offers to give and how many. Like, for instance, there are some industries that the best cards that we put out have 2 or more offers. So we know not only that here's a list of 10 offers that work great for your industry. Also, you should know that having at least 2 offers or more on your particular industry is key, and we'll tell you that. And then finally, call to action, which gives a person an opportunity to call in, but many people won't call right off the bat. They'll go to your website. So your website has to be a point of that as well. It has to get its job done once they go there and make sure that further steps are taken to contact you. So those are kind of like, in a rough nutshell, is what a postcard campaign has to consist of.
So let's talk a little bit more about the targeting, because I think that's perhaps the most important piece of the puzzle, aside from the message, is the targeting. So let's say a local business has a whole plethora of different target markets. Maybe it's just a farm area. Maybe they're trying to target different, clientele or customers for different products and services they offer. How did they discern who to zero in on? I mean, are there some good questions they should be asking themselves to zero in on the most valuable customer or target market to be targeting with postcards?
Yeah, many people know that there are certain types of individuals that are their better clients, and they want to target those people. I mean, there's lots of different theory out there in the world, but many, everybody's heard of the 80-20 principle, right? Mm-hmm. 20% of your customer, your better customers, out of your whole list, about 20% of the people who buy from you are the better people. Mm-hmm. 80% of your income comes from 20% of your customers. Mm-hmm. So you could use a principle like that in figuring out what the ideal list is. We actually have a lot of that information for people where we're able to help them zero in on a target market. Now, in some cases, you really want to hit a whole arena just around you, physical location. Mm-hmm. So we can help people with that kind of target too. Sometimes like a dentist might know, or a chiropractor, or some sort of somebody who delivers that type of services might know that most of their clients come from about 2 miles around where they're located. Mm-hmm. So Chet Holmes calls that the best buyer neighborhood strategy, where you target the best area, the best zip code, the best mailbox that have the highest concentration of your best customer. Usually the best customer is the one that has the higher net worth, that is going to spend more often in larger quantities and in larger frequencies than the average or lower end clientele. That's not always the case, but that's often the case. Have you found that to be true? Yeah, I think with what we do, that's very true. I mean, you've got we're dealing with things like HVAC, chiropractic, pools, a tax preparation. Obviously, everybody needs their taxes prepared. So that's kind of an interesting one there where it's like a bit broader. But in many of the industries we deal with, that's very true. Very true. I think, but even in the tax preparation, that even lends itself to what we're talking about here is like, how far are you going to drive to get your taxes done?
Yeah, it really comes down to the lifetime value of the client. What particular type of client profile is going to spend more often in larger quantities with more zeros and commas and refer more friends and family and have more need and desire for what you've got? And if you can zero in on that, then you're going to, obviously tip the scales of fortune in your favor to hit a home run on the campaign, especially if your list is really dialed in on that particular profile. So that's true. That's the key to targeting. Let's say now we've got the target. We've got a killer list of people that really make up our ideal client profile. And now we got to come up with the right message that resonates with that list. And there's lots of different ways to go about doing this. We could do a one-step, we could do a two-step. So a one-step is just going for the jugular and just saying, hey, if you're hot for what we've got, call us or go to our website. A two-step would be, hey, here's an educational piece, here's a checklist, here's a free report, a free guide, a free booklet, a free book, something of value, a free consult, something like that that's free, that kind of warms them up and has even the lukewarm people interested in taking that little baby step. So there's the two-step and the one-step. Have you noticed one working better than the other? And what kind of industries or categories of business tend to lend themselves better to the one-step versus the two-step or vice versa?
Well, we're definitely proponents of the two-step type program. I mean, not everybody's going to reach out directly. In fact, most people, 95% of people are going to go to your website first instead of calling you. And those are of interested people. And they're going to go to your website and then they're going to proceed to either talk themselves into or out of calling you. So once they get there better be a reason for them to go ahead and just give some information away. And we found that, an ideal situation might be just to ask for their email address first and give them something, actually deliver something like, maybe a coupon or something in exchange for that email address. And then immediately follow up by asking for more information with another offer. This is what we do on our website. It's a great example, actually. If you've been there for a few minutes and you start to leave, a pop-up comes up and it says, hey, we'd love to give you a coupon for $50 off your first postcard order. And so then you'll fill that out with your email address. And then after you fill that out, our next offer comes up, which is free samples. A lot of people want free samples for their postcards to just look at some examples for their industry or in general to get an idea of what they're going to be doing. And so that'll be the next one that comes up, which in order to send them free samples, we need their address and all that. And of course, we ask for their phone number, which at which point we've collected a hot lead and a hot prospect. And we actually follow up on those leads within, we target to follow up with them within 5 minutes, give them a quick call, because we find we reach an incredible number of them if we reach out right away, like immediately. And then we consult with the person and we help them figure out whether or not a postcard campaign is right for them. And so we help them figure out, now to go back to what we do for them, we help people figure out what those right offers are, whether it's it's an offer of telling you exactly what we deliver. One postcard I saw, healthy teeth and gums for life, right? Which is a great, headline for a postcard, or something that offers maybe a consultation and a bit of a discount, like another finance card I just recently saw. So both work, and but you've got to have some, we've tested so many offers in so many different industries that fortunately some of that guesswork can be, marketing. You don't know what's going to happen exactly. It's not an exact science, right? But we've removed so many guess points. It's a lot more comfortable than going just with the latest craze marketing wise.
Yeah, I've heard a saying that pioneers get arrows in their back. You don't want to be the pioneer. You know, you want to have other people be the pioneer, and you get the tried and tested method that you know will work because other people have done it, gone the distance before you, and found it to be working in their business. So that's the really cool thing about working with something enterprise like Postcard Mania is, you know, if you're a mortgage professional, they've worked with literally hundreds and hundreds, perhaps even thousands of mortgage professionals. Real estate agent, literally hundreds, perhaps thousands of real estate agents. Chiropractic, you know, same thing. You get the idea. So you don't want to be a pioneer. You know, don't try and reinvent the wheel.
No, you know, and it's great too because I mean, let's say you're all hot for these other these innovations in marketing. There's we integrate those actually. We know that the website has to be a great website, and we've seen so many bad websites, and we really don't like it when a bad website detracts from our postcard campaigns. So although I heard at one point Joy said she was never going to sell websites, we actually sometime since put a whole digital department there. So we design websites that are killer, that translate into buyers, so that because we know people are going to go to those websites as a result of receiving that postcard. And then you mentioned it's really nice to be able to track a postcard campaign. Well, we actually integrated a whole thing called Direct Mail 2.0 that integrates call tracking. We give a specialized phone number where you can not only track to see where the leads came from because they come from a particular phone number, but it also records the phone calls.
Nice.
So you can see whether your people are actually handling the calls the way you want them to be handled.
Oh, wow.
And then mail tracking, which allows you to see which day the postcards are going to hit and when they did hit, so you know to beef up the sales lines at that point to handle the influx. And then and then also the other thing that's part of this Direct Mail 2.0 is a thing called, what we call, for simplicity's sake, the Google Follow Me network, which is really when you see it all the time. You go to a website and then all of a sudden you're seeing that website's ads wherever you might go.
Right. Remarketing.
It's called remarketing, retargeting, and so we do that. We set that up, and for pennies per piece, we set that up for the clients that will put together a direct mail campaign, and we bump it up to Direct Mail 2.0.
Wow, that sounds off the chain awesome, man. What I love about what you guys are doing is you're not just cranking out killer postcards, but you're helping the relatively novice marketer who just wants to get more clientele and is great at baking or great at finding a home for the loan with a mortgage, or great at selling homes with real estate, or great at cracking necks and snapping checks with chiropractic, whatever it happens to be, but they're not really great at marketing. And so you guys have a turnkey system that you custom build for the clientele, it sounds like, where they're able to have that killer funnel so that when we get the right people going to the website, they don't go, dang, that's a butt-ass ugly site, I'm leaving, right? But they go, wow, this is awesome. This is just as awesome, if not more awesome, than the postcard. And it creates that continuity of the brand, continuity of an excellent experience, which obviously increases the likelihood that they're going to pull out their wallet and invest in whatever it is you offer. So I love the fact that you guys aren't just stopping with the first step, which is driving the traffic. Because the only thing, if you don't have your act together on the website, the only real good thing about having a lot of postcards going on in your behalf is you accelerate the speed at which people find out you suck. And obviously that's not going to help you. Right. So we need to make sure that people find out you're awesome all the way through the experience. So how can people reach out to you, Barry, if they're wanting more? I know there'll be people listening to this. They're chomping at the bit. They're like, dude, I need this, and I needed this yesterday. How can people reach out to you? How can people get more of what you got?
Well, you can definitely go to the Postcard Mania website, and we'll give you a link for the show notes where people can get we'll give them something special they can download from your show notes. We'll give them a phone number they can reach to. It's Postcard Mania .com is the website. You can also write me directly, and I'll connect you with one of the consultants. Just write me at Barry C, BARRYC, at postcardmania.com. And just shoot me an email, and I'll connect you with somebody. And you can any of the things that I mentioned here today, I can make sure that you get a report that helps you walk you through those steps and give you some of those items that you can put to work for yourself. Checklists and stuff that we've compiled on pretty much everything that we've talked about here today to help you grow as a small business.
Awesome sauce. Well, it's been a real pleasure and a delight to connect with you, Barry. Man, I wish we had another hour because I feel like we're just scratching the surface of the surface. You've certainly whet my palate, and I'm sure everyone else listening is jonesing to dive deeper because, again, we've just really scratched the surface. What can you leave with our audience today as a little gold nugget, a little morsel for them to marinate their minds on as we wrap up our session today?
Well, I'd say, it's great that we're a full-service marketing company, that we're here to help you. But there's nothing like working with a customer who's also become a bit empowered himself on the subject of marketing. And I would guess, although I don't have the hard numbers on this, that the campaigns that probably work the best are, for the guys that have also taken that extra few steps and gained some knowledge themselves so that they're able to contribute and be part of the motion on a successful campaign. So I'd say, knowledge is king, and your own certainty is totally dependent upon you gathering some knowledge for yourself, certainty that you're going to grow as a business.
Absolutely. Like we said earlier, if you pursue formal education, you'll make a living. You pursue self-education, you'll make a fortune. And you guys are on this podcast, so that tells me you're already cultivating the habit of being lifelong learners. So kudos to you. And don't stop. Just keep pursuing skill, knowledge, wisdom, and the marketing prowess. The more you're able to get that knowledge, the more you can flex that marketing muscle, and the more you'll crank profits in your bank account. So, Barry, thanks so much on behalf of our audience for being with us. It's been a delight, a pleasure, and it's been very eye-opening. So thanks again.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for having me. I hope some guys go out there and dominate their local market.
Absolutely. Well, you've certainly given them a leg up on that today, so thank you.
Thank you.
Well, that's all for now, friends. Thanks for joining us for another episode of the Local Domination Podcast, your ultimate guide to getting local clients fast. So if tips galore that help you soar is what you adore, know this: we've got more in store. Remember, nothing happens without implementation. So in the meantime and between time, go forth, engage. It's time for Operation Domination.